Hey guys, it's your boy, Ballface8020, back again with another great commentary. This one's probably not going to be super interesting, but I, don't know, just like when I'm going to be able to make a new video again. Hopefully it won't be, I don't know. It may be a couple of weeks, a few weeks before I make another video. I'm not saying that it will be. I'm just saying I don't know. So I wanted to get this out now. Before I start, I have received some, and I'm always open to suggestions or requests. I can't promise I'll do them, but I'm open to hearing them. I have had 2 video requests for one about my journey with weightlifting, like, how did I start? Why did I quit? What are the different things I tried? What kind of results did I get? The other request was about my political journey. Like how did, I come from a left-wing family. How did I end up, where I am? I think those are both good video topics. The second one is a very long story, and so that would be something when I'd probably have to like write notes down ahead of time and get to it. So look, I like both of those ideas. I'd like to make videos about both of those, but I'm going to stop short of promising that I will or putting any kind of time frame on it because I don't know. Again, the second one especially is, there's so much, I'd have to like go back and think and like map out so many different things. Because, you guys wouldn't want to hear me to just like rambling, thinking, because if I was going to ramble about it, it could take hours. I would need some kind of direction for a topic like that. Yeah. The now, like as we always begin our videos with some artwork. So let's get to it. 1 second. First one, we have Jessica the Great White Shark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that one, I thought it came out really well, because I remember when I was doing it, I didn't feel really inspired, and I didn't feel like I was doing a good job. But I'm happy with how it came out. I think from a technical perspective, it's not a very difficult one from a technical perspective. But it was okay to draw, and I really like it. I like it a lot. This one though, of all the ones I've ever done, may be my favorite. I think it's the most realistic looking one of it. Although the Lisa the Fox and Henry the Tree Frog, if you've seen the other videos, are fairly realistic too. I feel like this one is a little bit better than both of them. I really like this one. Again, technically, not as I think impressive as Lisa the Fox or Henry the Tree Frog. But I just really like this picture. I'm just really happy with how it came out. Even though, to be fair, it definitely doesn't really match the one I was modeling it after. But again, I feel like it came out really well. So here we go. It's Fuzzball the Squirrel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then one more here. This was one I did Fuzzball I think almost a week ago at this point, and I haven't since then. I've maybe it was probably like 4 or 5 days ago. Since then, I don't know. I just haven't been up to doing a technical one. So I've just been doodling, and really the last few days I've just been working on ones of Oscar the Grouch from Sesame Street. Now I have a few here. I'm not going to subject you to all of them. Let's see which one I think is best. I think this. Yeah, so I think the best one I did is the second one, which isn't, I mean, it's still not even that good, but it does at least kind of look like Oscar. Here we go. Ready? Oscar the Grouch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So here we are. What is it? 5.5 minutes in. We're ready to start. So, if you've been following any of my previous videos, or maybe I just mentioned it in my previous, I don't know. I got a new job. So, we'll do some backup to get everybody caught up. I had been working at an insurance agency for the previous almost 3.5 years. In early March, it was March 2nd, I believe, I quit without notice. I had been I've been wanting a new job for a long time. I had already started looking, but, as you know, I told the story before. The one day I was there and it was only me and my boss. My boss had this meltdown where he was screaming, throwing things and smashing stuff, which is not unusual for him. He does that from time to time. But for some reason, this one bothered me more than others, as in it triggered my anxiety. Still have a ton of respect for my boss. He's put up with a lot from me, but I just didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel safe there anymore. And intellectually I did, but biologically I didn't. You know, or I'm not neurophysically, neurochemically. You know, like I wasn't like. It would just trigger my anxiety. So, you know, there was a Monday. I had planned on going in. Then that night I realized I can't do it. I just can't. So I went in, I bought goodbye gifts for my boss and my coworkers, went in before work because I have a key to the place, or I had a key to the place, and left a note saying, you know, I just don't want to deal with the customers anymore. So I'm moving on, but thanks for 3.5 great years, and I'll certainly recommend you to anybody else who's shopping for insurance. That's just the catch-up, if you got a minute. So, you know, what I did is, I mean, you're really not supposed to quit your job if you don't have another job already. And look, I'm down with that. It's just that it's, I'm not sure I've ever actually done that. I can think of many times where I had jobs that I was looking for new jobs, but every time that I've done that, I ended up quitting my current job before I found a new job, because finding a job can take a while. You know, you have to interview a few places, and like even now with the hiring economy is okay, it can take a while. And I had already had a few failed interviews before I got the one that I did now. So anyway, I got hired to a commission-only job to do insurance sales, which may sound like what I was doing before, but by the end of my job at where I had been working, I was doing essentially no selling, next to no selling. I was doing all customer service, which I hate. And I know everybody hates customer service. I get that. You don't hate it the way I hate it. And it's like, there's different kinds of customer service. Like customer service in retail, I don't mind. But customer service in insurance, now not all of them, some of the calls are fine, but there are a lot of them that really stress me out. And I think it's probably a me problem. It's something that, you know, I've got to work on, but it's not like I quit just because I just don't like doing it. You know, like there's plenty of things that I hate doing. There's a difference between hate doing it, because my coworkers hate doing customer service too, but it doesn't stress them out. It did to me. So anyway, so I got this new job, right? This job is just selling insurance. And it's commission only, which I like. And, you know, sales trainer Benjamin Dennehy says that, you know, every sales professional should be commission only. And I agree with that. You know, if you're doing sales, why should they pay you if you're not selling anything? It should be based on, you know, your production, right? It doesn't make any sense. And also, I feel like when you're commission only, there's a little bit more leeway. You know, the stuff. I mean, like, look, any job, like even if it's a commission only job, you still have to show up on time. You still have to be reliable. You still have to do all that stuff. But there's a little bit more leverage, especially if it's like well, this person is actually, like, I can see that this guy is making me money in a way you can't directly with other ones. And if this guy leaves, not only is he not bringing me that money, but maybe he's taking some business with him. And it makes the employer-employee relationship a little bit more balanced, I think. So I did get a job, and what happened for this one was, I mean, I really don't want to bore you guys, so, but I think it's worth talking about how I got the job, what happened, right? So I go to interview with this guy, and we actually ended up talking for like over an hour. Like, it was like almost an hour and a half. We had a really good conversation, flew by. We had a really good conversation. I thought I was going to get it. I thought I was going to get the job. And he said a lot of things about insurance sales. I mean, I've been trying and failing to sell insurance for 3.5 years, and he said a lot of things that I hadn't really thought of before, and it kind of rekindled my interest in sales, because I haven't been doing sales really for so long, but it just made me feel like, yeah, I'd like to try it again, and actually try to sell something and see if we can move some of these policies. And but I thought I was probably going to get it, but I wasn't sure. But I was also kind of anxious about it, just like I'd be anxious about any type of job. So then he calls me 2 days later, and I'm expecting he's going to call me, telling me to say, like, you got the job. But no, it was, he said, I decided to go forward with somebody else. But, and I, because, and I don't know if I believe this or not, he said, because, I just don't have, like, this guy has a lot more experience, and, the training, I don't think it's like, it's the whole, I need somebody who can hit the ground running. And that's, the only reason. I don't really buy that, because I've been doing it for 3.5 years. I think it was that the fact that I was only willing to work part-time, and that, I told him point blank, about, my health problems, and, and that they do inhibit me with work. I mean, obviously he's not going to say that. That's why he didn't go forward with it. And, another thing is, like, we had a good conversation, and I think that he believed that if I came on and did things their way, that I could sell. But that's a lot different than somebody who's already demonstrated the ability to sell, which I just haven't done. I mean, I did it at first, where I was educated, but that's because we had great rates. Once those great rates went away, I couldn't sell shit. So, but then he said, well, then here comes the twist. He says, however, there's a guy who used to work for me who just opened up his own independent agency. And, he's still a friend of mine, and he needs somebody. I told him that you would be okay with commission only. So, did you want to talk to him? And I said, yes, absolutely. So I went there and I interviewed with that guy. Again, we had a really good conversation, and I feel like I like both of them, but I feel like I had more rapport with the second guy that I interviewed with. I think we had not even more rapport, just that our sales philosophy matched up a little bit better. And but we had a really good conversation too. It took, I think, went over an hour, went really well. And then, but it's, I didn't, so I go and I send him a thank you note, but then he didn't reply, and I just, like, he didn't, reply to the thank you note. So I figured, I guess I didn't get the job. I don't know. And, but then he calls me the next day though, and, says, yeah, I want to bring you on. And, so I was like, great. I mean, that's awesome. So we talked about all this. He said, but basically, there's a bunch of shit you got to sign, and then, they have to run a background check. So, I mean, we can't, like, there's no way logistically to get you on before, early May. So this was like 2.5 weeks ago when we had this conversation. And, so I was like, all right, fine. And then, he said the start date, the start date is May 5th. However, when we were talking about it, he was like, I'm trying to think about what day we'd want to, let's want to start. Would it be May 5th? And then he's like, yeah, because I know that's like there's like a holiday. Yeah, it's like with Cinco de Mayo. So yeah, we'd start on, I remember him saying we'd start on a Tuesday, but I don't know. So I definitely knew the first day was May 5th. Okay. And, beyond that, whether I knew it or not, I do remember him saying the first day would be on Cinco de Mayo. So I got that. But for some reason in my head, I had it as, no, it's the day after Cinco de Mayo. And I knew it wasn't May 6th. I knew it wasn't May 5th. Basically, something happened at some point so that I thought May 5th was a Tuesday. And I don't know how that happened. I know that we were talking about something about holidays. I guess I do know how. I know vaguely how I got mixed up, but I don't know exactly. And but he had also said, and then I'll speak with you the day before you start, to get hashed out. Now, so I was planning on calling him on Friday, which I should have done, but then I was like, I'm good, trying to reset my sleep schedule here. I just didn't get around to it. I should have, but whatever. I should have done it and I didn't. And, but I was like, whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't start till Tuesday anyway. So I'll give him a call on Monday. And, so we get to around, it's 12:30 or whatever on, 12:30 in the afternoon today. And again, my sleep schedule is fucked up. So I was getting ready to go to bed, and I say, well, first I better go send him an email, just so I'll leave my phone next to me, and I can pick it up if he calls while I'm sleeping. So I sent him an email and just said, hey, I just want to confirm that we're still on for tomorrow. That tomorrow is still my first day. At 1. And I didn't know if you wanted to talk on the phone before then. Here's my cell phone number. Give me a call if you want. And otherwise I'll see you tomorrow. So I go there, leave the phone on, and then go to bed. And woke up 4 or 5 hours later, I don't remember. And, I see, some missed calls, from him, and, just a message saying, please call me back when you get a chance. And I realized I didn't hear that call because my phone had somehow got set into SOS mode, where I guess it can't receive calls. And I do know how it happened. It's just kind of a weirdly bad luck that it would happen today. So that's why I didn't get the call. So I go to whatever, I'm trying to call him. I couldn't realize I couldn't call him back either, because you can't make or receive calls when it was SOS mode. But I was like, whatever, I'll get it fixed. I don't care. But I do go to check my email. And then in the email, he's like, hey, I was, he replied to that email I'd sent him saying, I was expecting you in today. as per our last conversation. And then I was like, oh shit, he's right, because today is May 5th. It wasn't starting on Tuesday, it was starting on Monday. Because I remember thinking, why are we starting on a Tuesday? It's so weird. So, I just told him, I was like, oh my God, you're absolutely right. I do remember it was May 5th. I had it in my mind that was a Tuesday. I'm beyond sorry. I can't even really explain it. I will be there, tomorrow afternoon if I'm not fired already. And no, he gave me a call and he was like, look, don't worry about it. I remember us talking about it being a holiday or something. So I see how, you got that mixed up. And you sent an email. So I know, we just got the days mixed up. So, hell, dude, thank God I sent that email, because then, oh my God, it would be fucked. So I guess I got caught a break in that sense. So this is like just how I roll. Like, like I really am just a fuck up. And I'm not saying this isn't that I can't be competent, or I'm not incompetent. Okay, I'm not incompetent. I'm just a fuck up. I fuck things up. And this one, even by my standards, this is pretty bad. And then this was the and I'm not ashamed that, I mean, I'm in this case I'm ashamed. I'm sorry, that the just embarrassed, just the bad manners. But I'm not ashamed to be a screw up, or that I've messed up so many things in my life, because it's just part of the way I am. There's not if it was really possible to change it, I would do it. But it's like, how am I supposed to stop screwing things up? Like, what do I do? My dad used to always get on me about that, and he would be like, there's two kinds of people in this world. There's people who pay attention and people who don't pay attention. And I was like, Dad, there are two kinds of people in this world, but that's not the kind there are. There's people who divide all of humanity into two broad groups, and there's people who don't. And but the thing is, like, it's true that I just don't pay attention. And so the idea is just like, okay, well, that's on you. You have to pay attention. It's like, yes, it is on me, but no, I'm not going to start doing that, because it's not deliberate. I'm not deliberately not paying attention. I'm just so naturally in the clouds. It's just, I'm just an absent-minded guy. And again, it's my responsibility to deal with it. And then there are things I can do to be more careful, like be more mindful in the future. Like, okay, I'm an absent-minded fuck up, but I know I'm an absent-minded fuck up. So maybe I just need to be more prudent about writing things down, and, checking, like, when you have something really important, like a first day, checking that you have the right first day, and stuff like that. So, yeah, but in this case, it was a no harm, no foul. So the only problem is, well, I mean, I don't know, I'm one of two minds. On one hand, like, physically, I'm not sure I'd have been up to it today. So it may have been one of those things where it worked out for the best. But the thing is, I hate first days. And again, I think everybody hates first days of work at a new place. I mean, with me, it's probably, again, worse because of the anxiety. And especially a job like this where, I've got to perform. And on top of that, for the first month, I'm not even going to be getting paid anything, because I'm commission only, but I can't sell anything until I know how to use their system. And I don't care. I don't really care about that, because, eventually, assuming this works out, the money will come. This guy, so, I mean, I'm going to go in there, like, if you were going out there and making calls, then, like, the day is going to move fast, and I'd be, even if you're not selling stuff, you're at least calling, and the day goes by. I know from my previous cold calling jobs, but if, this one, I'm just going to be doing, like, whatever technical training to learn how to use the system is. So I don't know. And like I said, my sleep schedule's still fucked up, so I'm going to be really fucking tired. And, I mean, I've certainly been way more tired. I'll be okay. But, yeah, I mean, but what the bottom line is, I think I'll feel better when the first day is in the books, because I'm pretty anxious about it. Like, I'm not in panic. It's not horrible, but I am anxious about it. And I just, at this stage, I just want to get the first day over with. Just get in there the first day over with. And then, we'll see how it goes from there. And, it's one of those things where, like, if it doesn't work out or whatever, it's not like it's the end. It's probably, don't get me wrong, if this doesn't work out, it's probably my last chance at any kind of professional work. If this one doesn't work out, it's manual labor and retail for me, for the rest of my life, or the rest of my working life at least. I mean, this is my last chance, I think, to have any kind of success in a professional setting. But I mean, also, it's kind of like, whatever, right? That would be a bummer, but it's not a huge deal to me. But no, it's not. I mean, I guess I feel like kind of pressure, because it's like, well, that first guy I interviewed with kind of went out on a limb for me, to get me this job. So it feels like I feel extra obligated. And, I just, I don't know. It's just, I don't like letting people down. And, I'm very well may here. I don't know. And, I mean, certainly historically, I have a track record of doing just that. And which again, it doesn't mean that like I can't succeed in stuff and or that I'm giving up. I'm still trying. I still believe I'm going to have success. I'm still confident, but there's a difference between confident and sure, and I'm not sure. I do have a lot of doubts, a lot of self-doubt in this case, and I'm not totally sure I can do it. I think I can, but I don't know. And I also don't really know what to expect, like what the days are going to be like, especially these first month while I'm learning the system. Like what my experience is going to be like there. Is it going to be really slow, boring? Is it going to be really slow? I don't know. That's what I was saying at the beginning of the video. I don't know when I'm going to be making another video because I don't really know how I'm going to be feeling. Like right now, like I said, I'm really anxious about this. And, maybe tomorrow comes and goes and I feel a lot better, but I don't know. So I'll definitely be back eventually. I just don't know when eventually is. Hopefully sooner rather than later. That's all for now. See you in the next.